G'day, Rachel here from Pinup and Nostalgia Image Creations. Today I'll be showing you how I do my glowy cohesive coral makeup look. If you enjoy this video, please remember at the end to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'm ready when you are, so let's get cracking. Starting off as always with skincare, I'm using the Sukin Rose Mist Hydrating Spray to hydrate and tone my face. I'm going to let that dry down fully with the help of a hand fan. Moving on to the second part of skincare, which is moisturiser, I'm using the Jasmine Face Cream from my favourite little shop, Vintage Honey's Parlour. A little bit of this goes a long way, but it is hard to not overdo it since it smells so good. Next to sunscreen, I'm using Key Sun Zinc Sensitive. Bonus budget cosplay for you. In all seriousness, it's a very important step, so make sure you use enough sunscreen and take your time making sure you get each part of your face, neck and ears covered evenly. I'll let that sit for a bit before I move on to priming my eyes. Today I'm using Art Deco Eye Base. It has excellent longevity and sheer coverage. I'm gently spreading that from my lash line right up to my eyebrow, making sure I include the inner and outer corners of my eye. A good eyeshadow base will prevent any sort of product movement, including creasing and transfer of your mascara or eyeliner. Now onto the base, I'm using Dermacol in 207, paired with the best makeup sponge I've ever used. Now because this is such a great full coverage foundation, you only need the tiniest amount. As you'll see, this will spread across my entire face and give me full opacity. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, I really encourage you to take your time with your base. This took me just over 5 minutes in real time. It's certainly not time wasted, and I promise you, people are going to be complimenting your skin all day. Lastly, I'm just making sure to blend that foundation into my hairline and over my ears. Time to lock that all down with some translucent Coty Airspun and a Wet n Wild big powder brush. As you can see, I've tapped quite a bit of that powder off. I never use too much at all, and I never ever bake under my eyes. There's just no need for excessive product anywhere on the face, but especially in those softer skin areas like your eyes. Time to shine with Wet n Wild loose highlighting powder in I'm So Lit. This one's an all-time favourite of mine. It doesn't have any glitter specks, and on the skin it looks like you're genuinely glowing. Now, being that the word glowy is in the title of the video, I'm going to go a bit crazy with the highlighter. As you saw, I covered both cheeks, went down the nose and on the tip, and also from the middle of my eyebrows right to my cheeks, did a big C shape and finished off with a little dusting on my chin. I bloody love me a good bit of highlighter. If someone ever tells you you're wearing too much of the stuff, just turn around and walk away. Not because you're the bigger person, but because it'll blind them. Rightio, it's time for the coral part of this look. I'm using Revolution Peach Bliss, another favourite of mine, obviously, and this is where the cohesive part comes in, as I'm going to use it for blush, eyeshadow, as well as lipstick. As with any product, I'm starting with a little and building up to a decent coverage. I quite like my blush on the heavier side, but there are no rules, so you can use as little or as much as you like. And I'm using the larger face brush to blend out those edges before going in again to top up on highlight. I'm just going to take a second to rehydrate using that same toner spray. Repeating this step throughout your makeup application will help your skin look fresh and glowy. I'm using a fluffy Wet n Wild brush and our blush from earlier to start on the eyeshadow. I'm packing the brush with colour so that I can place that directly onto my eyelid. Now if you get some fallout, that's okay, just brush what you can off, and without adding any extra product, use your beauty sponge to disguise the rest. Once you've packed enough eyeshadow onto your eyelids, go ahead and start blending. I'm using soft sweeping motions and remembering not to drag the makeup across my eyelid. Because I'm going for a bit of a cat eye, I'm blending the outer corners into a V shape. To reinforce the concentration of colour, I'm going to use this large packing brush from Wet n Wild, and I'm going to concentrate that additional cover at the base of my lid and then ever so slightly just lining it up with the lower lash line. Now to brighten the inner part, to widen the eyes a little, I'm going to use just a singular white shadow from the Revolution Marvelous Matte palette and keeping it simple by using my finger to apply the shadow. Using that flat shadow brush in the same white shade, I'm going to use it to highlight the inner arch of my eyebrow. time to line those lids. I'm going to use the It's Easy Tattoo Liner by Catrice Cosmetics. On this day, my fine motor skills left a little to be desired, so I ended up with a bit of a thicker line than what I was initially going for. It took me a little longer than normal and a bit more effort to get the sides to match, but in the end we got there and it turned out just fine. Moving on to sort those brows out, I'm using a clean spoolie. After a quick comb through, I'm using my MCO Beauty Tattoo Brow in medium brown to fill in what's already there and to draw in what's not. A quick check to make sure they're even Stevens and onto mascara. For the day's look, I picked Maybelline Lash Sensational. It's tried and true and does the trick. And lucky last, moving on to the lips, I'm going to use a small angled tip brush from Wet n Wild to mix my Duraline with the blush. This will create a liquid formula which will dry down on the lips and stay quite well. After mixing my formula, I'm going to line the lips with it before colouring in with a first and a second coat. After that second coat, I'm going to go in with my Essence Wet Look Lip Gloss in Oh My Plump, and at the last minute I decided just to go over the eyeshadow with some highlighter for the extra bit of glow. And the final touch, a hair flower made by yours truly. I hope you enjoyed this super simple makeup look. It's definitely a go-to of mine to feel summery and fresh. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see next, but for now, I'll see you next time.